Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Holmes Movies Podcast. This is another one of our Holmes Movies recommendation episodes. My name is Anders Holmes, and I'm joined by my brother, Adam, over Skype in America, or Zoom in America.
Howdy.
Howdy. How are you? Still?
I'm very good. I'm hot. The fan is on still, and the thermometer is creeping upwards. Yeah, it's going to be even hotter tomorrow when I have to be working. So, but can't complain. I have a fridge full of booze, and I have I've got a basement full of DVDs, and I have all I need.
Yeah, you're covered.
I'm covered. But yeah, it is what it is. So recommendation today, my turn.
Yes, last time it was me talking about Wag the Dog, directed by Barry Levinson, and yes, now it is your turn.
Well, I'm going to turn to one of our favorite directors today and talk about.
That's all, folks.
No.
Wait. The favorite director. Let me guess. Michael Bay.
Are you an idiot?
No, I just wanted to see how you would react.
Not well. No, it is Sam Peckinpah, and I don't think we've recommended a Sam Peckinpah film on this.
No, I don't think we have. We have talked about Sam Peckinpah on an old episode of the podcast where we talked about The Wild Bunch.
Yeah, he's not come up in this series, so
nope.
I just thought I'd recommend a film that people probably haven't seen of his. It's the underrated but utterly delightful film Junior Bonham.
I have not seen Junior Bonham.
Oh, you should put that right. It's a very lovely film.
Yeah.
From 1972. Starring, it has just quite an incredible cast. It's sort of Steve McQueen. It's like peak Steve McQueen. He's doing his series of films where he either plays like a guy who likes to drive cars, or a guy who likes to race cars, or a guy who does motorcycles. In this case, he's a guy who rides around on rodeo bulls and is, an aging but still, still competent rodeo cowboy.
Cool.
Yeah, so you got Steve McQueen at the height of his powers in the lead role. You've got the excellent Robert Preston, who many people will know from The Music Man, who you and I recognize from How the West Was Won.
Who's he in How the West Was Won?
He's the guy who leads the wagon train.
Oh right, yeah, that guy.
Then you've got Steve. He plays Steve McQueen's dad. You've got Ida Lupino playing Steve McQueen's mother, who's estranged from Robert Preston. You've got Joe Don Baker, brilliantly cast as Steve McQueen's no good brother.
Yo, Jimbo.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, here's a question: what's Joe Don Baker's favorite Kurosawa film?
I was about to make the same joke. I was gonna make the same joke.
Well, something very wrong with us. Anyway, Joe Don Baker's.
I was literally going to say, I'll make a joke. Wait, hey, I'll bet, what is Joe Don Baker's favorite?
Well, we should have talked about that before because we completely did not land that.
Oh, that is two great minds think alike.
Or, I don't know, something else.
Yeah. His favorite film is Yo Jimbo.
You got Dub Taylor, who's in everything, is in this film. He's in Back to the Future 3, Bonnie and Clyde, The Wild Bunch. I'm just reading off the Letterboxd. Maverick.
Wait, is that guy? Is he one of the saloon people?
Yeah, he's one of the saloon people.
Yeah, he sits at the table with Harry Carey Jr.
And in fact, I think in this film he is literally the saloon guy. He, insofar as he's the bartender. And then of course you've got in this film the great Ben Johnson as well.
Yeah.
Playing himself pretty much, and it's just a really great piece of Americana, but it's very much in the Peckinpah cinematic universe, if you see what I mean, where it's like he's talking about the sort of end of something, the end of an idea of the West that's being overtaken by organized companies and money and so on, which is exactly the same as The Wild Bunch or Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. But he's just transposed this to a small community in Arizona, Prescott, I believe, and he's talking about how the West is getting commodified, and Joe Don Baker's brother is like turning the old family homestead into this like, you know, cheap condominiums and making money hand over fist, but all on like sort of a plasticky kind of naff nostalgia version of the old West. And it's sort of Peckinpah's contention that really the true West resides in like the rodeo cowboys and the independent lifestyle. In fact, there's a great scene which is in the credits where you see Peckinpah's name on screen, and it is still basically a tableau of McQueen sleeping by a river next to his old beat up car and his horse box as his horse grazes next to it. So it's like the old West and the new, but sort of, you know, keeping a firm grip on the idea of the past and the roaming cowboy. You know,
that's a nice little bit of symbolism right there.
Yeah, and I think it's no mistake that Peckinpah puts his name on that frame, on that sort of on that shot. It's a really moving film about like sort of family reconciliation. The soundtrack is brilliant. It's all this like steel guitar, you know, little sort of country ditties. The rodeo scenes are fantastically well done because the Peckinpah editing style, I think, really suits that sort of frenetic quality that the rodeos have. And he has a great eye for, I mean, if you were watching this, you could see it potentially as being taking a fond look at some of the sort of weird like American nationalism around these big carnivals and stuff, but I think you could look at it just as easily as like just exposing how kind of aesthetically gross it is, and the parade that features people, you know, dressed as cavalry and people dressed as Indians and flags and, you know, the saluting and all that shit. And there's a big, there's actually at one point in this, there's a film there's a scene that's straight out of John Ford. It's a barroom dance which turns into a fist fight.
Yeah, that sounds like John Ford.
Just like that's like John Ford and you know, in a nutshell. And it has some just some really touching bits, and it's a very, very, very simple story, but I just think it's well told, and it really feels authentic. Like everyone in it feels like they are the characters they're playing. Joe Don Baker, Ben Johnson feel like they just walked straight out of the streets of this town, or in Ben Johnson's case, like out of the ranch. Robert Peston is really good. He's chooses the scenery a little bit, but he's playing a larger than life character. McQueen might be a little too recognizable, but I think the fact that it's Steve McQueen kind of helps the character's mystique. But the film, I think, truly belongs to Ida Lupino. She is just so good in this. I mean, and such an interesting character in the history of cinema. You know, she's one of the first really high profile female directors in Hollywood in the sound era. You know, she directs The Hitchhiker, among others, sort of great film noirs. And she's a really great actress in her own right. So it's really nice to see this kind of reunion happening, you know, and I like the fact that what Peckinpah does in so many of his films is he takes old characters from the 40s and 50s and kind of rehabilitates them. I mean, that's what he does so brilliantly in The Wild Bunch with Phil Holden and Ernest Borgnine. But, you know, I think it really fits in with the canon, and I think if you watch this alongside Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, for a start, you'll be relieved to, you know, a lot of Peckinpah haters always say, oh, it's just violence. There's no violence in this aside from a bit of a fist fight. You know, it's a film with a lot of heart, a lot of feeling, a lot of sort of good old-fashioned kind of John Ford sentimentality, and really interesting cinematography and editing, as I say. So I think if you like westerns, but you don't love like western set on the frontier, this is perfect. Like if you enjoy the film Lone Star, which we've recommended, or if you enjoy The Last Picture Show, I mean, this could make a really great pairing with The Last Picture Show. Yeah. Which came out almost the same time.
Yeah, it did come out at the same time, and Ben Johnson won an Oscar for that film.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. I love it. So please check it out.
Yeah, it was actually one of 2 films that came out in 1972 that was directed by Sam Peckinpah. It was this, and then the other film that he did with Steve McQueen, which was The Getaway, which also has Ben Johnson.
Yeah, and Andy McGraw, of course. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
That
it's okay. I mean, it's interesting because what you're saying is it's not a really violent movie. I think that might be a response because the film he did before that was Straw Dogs, and that was banned, I think, in quite a few places. So that makes
I've never seen that either.
I have it on DVD here, but I haven't sort of. I think it's one of those movies you probably have to work yourself up to watching it or something.
Yeah, and it's possible that it might not be that good. I mean, he didn't always make good films. He was a very troubled character, but this is a great example of Peckinpah's craft, and I think overlooked. And I think it's pretty easy to get hold of. So you can get it on DVD. I'm not sure where else it's streaming in America, but it's definitely worth investing in the DVD copy of it. So
yeah, I'm gonna put it on my list.
Well, anyway, that's all from me. So I will see you next time.
Yeah, well, I really want to watch that after hearing you talk about it. And I love Peckinpah. I love all those movies.
Great.
So, yeah, well, that concludes another episode of the Holmes Movies Recommends. Do check back next time to see what I will be recommending.
Rodeo time. Gonna make it on down the road.
Who sings that again? Oh, that's Merle Haggard, isn't it?
Yeah, and in this film, the band in the saloon covers it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
nice. Well, yep. As always, stay safe. Wear a mask. Don't be a cunt.
Yes, please don't be a cunt.
Yes.
Wherever you are, whoever you are, don't be a cunt.
Yeah, nobody likes an asshole.
No, especially now.
Yeah,
there was time we thought maybe there was a time when assholes and dickheads were funny, but no, not now.
Yeah. 2020, no time for dumb fuckery.
No time for fuckers. Yeah.
But yeah, so well, have a good day, everyone.
Yeah, we didn't end that particularly well. I'm tired and hot. Let's get out of here.
Let's go.